What are some of the happiest moments of your life?
Well, when I was writing my book, I occasionally had vast uh, insights into something new.
Hmm.
Like the third chapter of my book, which I find completely useless in retrospect, the idea of a pseudo measure
Oh,
occurred to me. Uh, you know something about measures?
a little bit.
Okay, so you know a measure is typically defined as being non-negative. In other words, the numbers assigned to the sets there are typically non-negative. But there's something called signed measures, signed, which allow negative things, but they the literature says you can't assign plus infinity and minus infinity at the same time to in other words, you can't have something that goes to plus infinity at one on one set and minus infinity on another set.
Hmm.
So that's so in other words, they allow the concept of signed measures, but they don't. They think that infinity minus infinity doesn't mean anything.
Oh, but you extended it to handle that case?
So I found a way of making the thing going, including minus infinity and plus infinity, by a very simple mechanism. Instead of having one measure, I have a pair of measures.
Hmm.
And what's involved is um, the actual, you can subtract, in other words, a pair of measures on the same base. And so you it's a way of generalizing the concept to allow the entire real line to be conceptualized in one thing. So I was using it to the chapter is called the comparison of infinite measures. So I was very proud of that in terms of mathematical insight. But in retrospect, I doubt that anybody has ever read it. But
Oh, I'm sure people have read it.
yeah,
Did you ever try reaching out to measure theorists who might be interested in it?
well, no.
Or now you say it's impractical, but did you have an application in mind when you were thinking about it, or you're just
Yeah, I mean, the application was you're comparing things, let's say two time series, both of which go off to infinity. So, is there any way of saying that one is better than the other?
I see. I think maybe I asked you before whether this could help with handling problems for utilitarianism from an infinite universe, because you could have infinite pleasure,
Infinite
infinite
pain and
pain.
infinite pleasure?
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, that was something that occurred to me, and I wanted to be able to represent it.
Hmm.
But
Uh,
yeah, you know, in my conversation um, with Andy Hallman,
mm-hmm.
uh, he brought up the subject of utilitarianism,
Right.
and he said, well, in fact, we talked about this a bit. He said that the most famous utilitarian nowadays is uh, Peter Singer,
Right.
right? And you know, I was trying to think of other utilitarian. You know, there are quite a few uh, people who call themselves utilitarians. I have a whole stack of yellow cards about those, and who are still alive. It's you know, yeah, people have said this particular approach to moral theory is dead, but they keep saying it over and over again, and somehow it keeps coming back.
Well, speaking of utilitarianism, any other especially happy moments in your life that come to mind?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, there's always happy moments in your life. You know, you get getting along with somebody that you wanted to be friends with, or
Sure. Sure.
I guess it's possible that I got satisfaction out of people I didn't like having misfortunes.
Uh, those probably weren't the happiest ones, though, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, I'm an easygoing guy with great ambitions, uh, but yeah, so